And let's talk more about Chinese President Xi Jinping's state visit to Latin America with Eric Farnsworth. He is the vice president of the Council of the Americas, a business and trade-based organization. Welcome back to the show, Eric.
Thanks, Lynn.
A lot of deals, a lot of trade. That's the headliner. I'd like to get your take so far on President Xi's visit to
I think
Latin
it's been an important visit. I think it's been a successful visit from his perspective, no question about it. He has already had a rather large and successful meeting of the other BRICS leaders in Brazil, where they agreed to the establishment of a new development bank, which is creating a lot of interest and attention worldwide. He's met with other leaders of Latin America, and he just had a state visit in Brazil. So he's covering a lot of ground in a short period of time, and then he's moving on from Brazil to Argentina, to Venezuela, and also to Cuba. So he's spending a lot of time in the Western Hemisphere. The other thing I should note is this is his second trip in just 2 years to Latin America. Last year he was in Mexico, Costa Rica, Trinidad and Tobago, and the Caribbean. So he's really spending a lot of personal attention, and I think the hemisphere is taking notice.
So how would you characterize then Sino-Latin American relations, given these two trips within a fairly short amount of time? And looking forward, the long-term relationship.
I think for the most part they're quite good because China is such an important trade partner for many countries in the Western Hemisphere. China is Brazil's top trade partner, the top trade partner of Peru, Chile, the second top trade partner of Argentina and Cuba. So that's important. But that relationship has primarily been commodities-based, as we've talked about several times. And there are some tensions in the region because they are trying to build more of a value-added relationship. And so you saw, for example, that one of the announcements that was made today was the President of China announced the purchase of Brazilian aircraft. That's not commodities in terms of primary goods. That's value-added. That's high technology. That's precisely the type of thing that the Brazilians and other Latin Americans would like to be selling more of to China. So I think that's a positive step, a mark in the right direction. At the same time, I think people are beginning to understand that a relationship with China does come with a certain amount of expectations in terms of ways that countries will behave and interact with each other. It may be a little bit different from what they've been used to, and so they're getting to know each other. That process continues.
Quite a trip there in Brazil, but looking ahead to Argentina and Venezuela, those visits, what do you think will be the big takeaways there?
Well, I think both countries are obviously different, but in some ways the visits will focus on a lot of the same things, which is to say the continuation of the commercial relationship, also commodities. In Argentina, you'll probably be looking at conversations over agriculture and mining, perhaps energy. Argentina has a lot of energy that they'd like some Chinese cooperation to help develop. Venezuela obviously has huge amounts of energy as well, but the problem with Venezuela is despite that energy, despite the oil that they have such significant budget problems. I would speculate that a lot of the conversation will actually be on a Venezuelan request for more money, more assistance from China. And I think the Chinese government will have to make a determination. Do they want to keep sending more money to Caracas, whether or not they'll get repaid or under what terms and what time frame? I think those are important decisions that will have to be made. But at the end of the day, this is a strategic relationship that China's building, and I think politics and the strategic interests of the country will probably take precedence.
Railways also played a big part in the discussions as well. What do you see happening there?
Well, I think that's a really important part of the discussions, certainly infrastructure generally. But, you know, one of the things that China's been pushing for some time is a railway from Brazil through Peru to the west coast of South America. Well, the reason for that is very obvious. To get Brazilian commodities to the west coast and from there to China makes it a lot easier. You have to go across some mountains. You've got some Amazon jungle that you have to get through. So it's some difficult engineering feat. It's going to cost a lot of money. But it is a project, I think, that all three countries certainly discussed yesterday and probably will continue to do so.
I think they need to work on a railway between Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro.
Yes, a high-speed rail.
Exactly. Eric Farnsworth, as always, we appreciate your time.
Thank you.